Okay, so you had mentioned that the key component in a relationship is the relation, but the basis of any good relationship is the partnership. What is partnership?
It really, I think of it because courting is a sport now. Like, especially cuffing season. Like, I hate the whole idea of it, but that's the
Yeah.
best analogy that I can give people is that, for instance, you want so bad to be on a team with this person. Like, this is supposed to be the person that you're supposed to achieve. You're supposed to win, like, because everybody wants to win. So, why scout for somebody that can't do shit for your team? Like, why would you put yourself in a situation where you have to do all the work? There is nobody rocking with you. This person is literally just on the bleachers cheering you on because you're fully capable of doing it on your own. So, for that reason alone, then you should just be alone. But more people want so bad to say that they have somebody, so they'll fuck on anybody that comes along because sex is so important nowadays. People think that sex makes the relationship. It's a huge component. I'm not going to lie at all because it makes or breaks a lot of what people experience. But imagine having sex with somebody that you can actually do something with. And I'm not talking about like going on dates. I'm talking about you guys can open up an account and know that they're not going to steal your money. You can move
Right.
into a house with them and know that, the bills are going to be paid. If you need something, this person is going to be able to be there for you. You can make them your emergency contact at work. Like, it's those things that people don't care anything about. And although, yeah, this is the beginning of, the idea of a partnership, but y'all don't even think about the long-term goals anymore. Like, people just out here doing shit. So it's like, I personally can't really date right now because, yeah, I'm working on some shit, but at the same token, I cannot even semi look at these people who are interested in me as a partner. Like, I have to think long term. I can
Yes.
talk to you all day long. I can talk at you all day long. But at the same token, like, if I'm going through something, can I come to you and can I entrust that you're not going to run back to your mom? And then the first time I meet this woman, she's like, oh, so this the one with the seasonal depression. Or, this is the one who, has
Right.
this itch, that type of shit. And
Right.
that's so bothersome. Like, find a partner. This is going to be the person that's on this field with you running these plays. If this person does not listen well, this person cannot comprehend, this person is not willing to be flexible, this person can't show up for practice because there's going to be a practice stage. If this person cannot do that, what the fuck are you dealing with them for? And
Right.
people miss that mark so much. So now cuffing season is just a motherfucking game, and everybody out that bitch just running around, throwing 8 different balls, running to the wrong motherfucking side of the field, and they look simple as shit. And I'm just over in the, in the stands like, hey y'all, y'all look simple as shit, but I'm here, like I see y'all. I'm just not doing it. If I can't find a partner, then I don't want it. Like, I'm not big on marriage. I'm big on partnership. I can't imagine. I honestly can't imagine fucking on somebody that I can't build with.
Right. Yeah, cuffing season has always been a strange concept to me, and just
Hmm.
even the title of it
Yep.
denotes that it's a game. Because cuffing season, when you think about it, like you said, it is a sport, and
Yep.
the way that it's related, it's relating to like the sports season. Like, you've got the draft and the draft picked, and then who gets up, put on the sidelines, and who's benched, and who's the quarterback, and who's the star player. It's like it's not a game, because it involves people's emotions, it involves people's mental well-being, it involves people's physical well-being. And if it's something that you're doing just because the winter's coming and you need a warm body to cuddle up with,
Yep.
then you know what I mean? Call it what it is. You're looking for a live blanket for the winter season. You're not
Yep.
interested in actually being with that person, because you get with somebody who is actually invested, in somebody who is looking to develop and build a relationship. You
Yep.
go around and you fuck up that person's whole mental, because, now the spring has come. Everybody's shedding, the heavy jackets and the live blankets, and they're looking for
Mhm.
something new, excuse me, and fresh, because spring is here. And then you have this person sitting here with their bag of feelings that they've developed for you over the course of the cuffing season,
Yep.
because you're who they really wanted.
Yeah. And then it really fucks with people. And then there's hesitations after that. Like, that person is completely hesitant to even deal with anybody else. And that person might not look anything like you. They might not act anything like you. But because they actually put their guard down and they actually decided that you might be the person that, even for the moment, that, they could see themselves doing anything with, you fuck that up. And now they gotta heal from that shit. And that shit takes a long time, whether it be 6 weeks of dealing with a person or 6 months. Once your feelings are hurt, it takes a lot to regain
Yes.
consciousness, really, to like fall back into a place of complacency with yourself where you're even comfortable to take a person's phone number. Like, You get to the point where you like, you know what? Nope, that's a fucking setup. Because the minute I put this number in his phone and I give him a text tone or I give him an emoji, he gonna do some dumb shit. Now, 99% of the time, you're right, but like you fall into a place where you don't even want to do it anymore. And I honestly think that's why there are so many people out here now just saying that they would just rather be alone than to be with somebody that they can't trust. But I'm just still trying to figure out when the fuck did all of us develop trust issues?
Right.
Like how did that
That's
happen?
it's true. Like, okay, so again, I'm considerably older than you. And when I think about where we are in this generation and just even the people between your age and my age, like the full range,
Mm-hmm.
it's insane the amount of people who are saying they would rather just be single, date casually, fuck if
Yep.
they need to, but they're not trying to be in no relationship because they don't want to get hurt. They don't want to get cheated on. They don't want to this, they don't want to that. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what happened to the age of people being in relationship, like actual relationships? You know what I mean? Where you work shit out, where you had a vested interest, where you had goals to be with the person long term, develop a family, whether that involved kids or not, or a dog and two cats or whatever family meant to you. It's like people are stuck in this singularity now where I want to be single, but I want to be with somebody, but just not be with them. It's
Mm-hmm.
just weird to me.
Because
So,
titles can't complicate shit, apparently.
which is retarded. And
Yeah.
and it's crazy that you say that because it's like the amount of people that I know who were in relationships for 5 and 6 and 10 years and got married and a year later got fucking divorced.
Yep.
I'm like, how? How?
Yep.
How? The Mrs. or the Mr. or the ring or the signed piece of paper somehow in that year's time shifted your mental and emotional track to the point where you guys are just not together anymore?
My dad has
How?
been married 3 times, and that's happened each time. The minute that he got married, I don't know if it was them. I don't. It might have been him, but I think it was them. It seems like after that, the women changed. It was like, well, once I got his last name, I'm more so entitled to like more, more stuff.
Right.
And it's just
Right.
like at that point, they were just really selfish, and like relationships don't work that way.
No.
And my poor damn daddy. Oh god. He's
But it's true.
so
I
sick.
feel like, and I've said this before, it's like people like the idea of marriage, but don't like what is actually involved in a marriage, which
Yep.
is the work of it, right? You have, and I'm going to say, like, for our sex, you have women who really want to be Mrs. Whoever. They don't care who it is,
Yep.
just so they have the title, just so they have the ring, so they can have the big lavish wedding
Yep.
and all these things. And now they're in this person's life and they feel like, okay, well, now I trump everybody. That
Yep.
means I come ahead of everybody. I don't care how many kids you have. I don't care how old your kids are. I don't care about your grandchildren. It's me
Exactly.
first. And there's this ridiculous sense of entitlement. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, you've come into this person's life to complement their life, not to hijack their life.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, like I said, it's kind of crazy to me. So speaking of cuffing season, I listened to your episode, cuffing season, I think was episode 15, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And you talked about dating with purpose. So, sort of in the vein that we're in now, and talking about the lost art of courtship and the lost art of dating and all that sort of stuff. What is dating with purpose?
Getting shit done. Like I got shit I gotta do. You got shit that you gotta do. But like, why we gotta do it by ourselves? Like, everybody has like a best friend or a friend that they can go to and they can share anything with. And this is the person that is kind of like checking on you and things of that nature. And then you find yourself like distracted by the person that you're sleeping with because they are the distraction away from your work. So a lot of the time you talk to somebody, especially during your hard days, that are just kind of giving you some type of release, and that's normally what you want them for. But when you're dating with a purpose, that person becomes a part of your purpose. So you have everything that it is going on, and this person falls right into that category of helping you get these things done. You're helping them get those things done. You guys are working on two separate projects, but you're able to get it done together. And then at the end of all that, you have somebody to share that with. The purpose there is just to continue to manifest, to make good, grand things happen, instead of this person coming into your life and being like, hey, how's that going? And you're like, good. Okay, well, moving on. Let's go to the movies. It's
Right.
like, well, hey, how's this going? Hey, it's going good. Okay, well, how can we make that better? So
Right.
I feel like, again, more so people need to find a person who has a purpose within their life so that they can act off of that as well. I think sometimes we date I don't want to say below our means, but like sometimes we find a person that's not necessarily where we are, and then instead of us being the influence for them, they influence us to just like not do better. And I feel like once you start dating with a purpose, you find somebody that's kind of on the same vibration as you, and you guys flow within like a proper frequency, and you get it done. I don't know what people be out here doing nowadays. Like there's no purpose to the dating anymore. There's literally no purpose other than an orgasm, and people aren't getting that, and now they outing people on Instagram. It's it's just a mess. It's a mess.
Do you think that social media has affected the way that people date?
Oh my God, yes. It is horrible. I think one, it's the social norm that it's created that this shit is normal. It's not normal that
Right.
you talk to more people on the internet than you do in person. Like that's weird as fuck. Or
It
that people know
is.
you by username. That's really weird. Or
It
people know
is.
you by a number. Like you have 100 and some thousand followers. Like that's weird to me.
Yes.
And just the overall like norm as well as like what people are supposed to look like. Like men are all supposed to have beards, women are all supposed to have, big butts. If she's a BBW, she has to look this way. Like if he's not 6'3" and 230 pounds, I don't want nothing to do with him. So I think that it's really just put this huge impression on people, and people have become so gullible and so easily influenced by this that
Yes.
people forget that they have an opinion, that they have a way of doing things, and that other people's opinion doesn't matter. Like it really doesn't matter if somebody else doesn't find your partner attractive. You find them attractive. They do everything that it is for you that makes you happy. Who cares if your followers don't like them? Who cares if nobody likes your pictures?
But especially
Who
people
cares?
who you don't talk to in real
Exactly.
life.
Exactly. Like I don't know you. Like you live halfway around the earth, and you're telling me that my girlfriend's ugly. So I was like, damn, now I gotta break up with you because Abdul in India said that she was unattractive, and I gotta listen to Abdul or he's gonna unfollow me, and I'd be damned if I lose
Right.
a follower for you. Like that's
Right.
the dumbest shit in the world. But people do it.
They
People
do.
do it.
They do. Do you think it's possible to teach someone that has that's just how I am mindset, or that just, well, that's just me, that's just how I am? Do you think it's possible to teach that person how to love another person the way they want to be loved? Because we always talk about, when people say, "Oh, I love you," and, the way people love you from their perspective,
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes people don't love you from your perspective,
Right.
and people will smother you because they think that's the way that you love someone. But if you're not a clingy, latchy kind of person, smothering, as much as it's the intention is good, will push
Mm-hmm.
you away, but do you think it's possible to teach someone who has that, "Oh, well, this is just how I am, this is all I know," type of mindset, how to love another person the way they want to be loved?
I think it's seemingly impossible to even try if a person doesn't show any type of like want to change. So like I always, because Jackson actually posted something on Twitter not too long ago, like, do green flags exist? And I was telling him, like, green flags don't exist. Like, it's only red flags. Like, because everything is good up until a red flag, presents itself. And then you
Yes.
feel like you have to kind of like, that's when you have to check it. So I feel like if a person has that red flag right then and there is no like green flag or green light for you to even think that that person can comprehend what it is that you're trying to teach them. So like the minute that a red flag happens in your situation, especially on your end, like let's say you do something to the person that you're interested in, if that person doesn't want to take the time to be like, hey, not only did this hurt, not only did I not agree with it, but I'd like for you not to do that again, and you adjust, that's one thing. Now if you go back to that same person and you're like, hey, this hurt me, I really didn't agree with this, I'd like to talk about it, and they're like, listen, well, that's just how I am. Ain't no helping them. That's what they are agreeing to. And I've noticed that a lot of those people are more so narcissistic than anything, where they feel like they're always right. And if they feel like they're always right, they're never even going to feel like they've ever been wrong. Even though narcissist people do lack empathy, they are not stupid by a long shot. Very intelligent people. And I feel like the people that are those that's how I am type of people are narcissistic individuals. And they always have a rebuttal for everything. And that is more so bothersome. This is not a debate. I'm not debating how I feel. I'm not giving you the opportunity to even help me try to analyze what it is that happened. I'm trying to teach you how to love me. I'm trying to teach you what my love
Yes.
language is, because this is supposed to be a partnership. But all the hell you care about is what you know. And if that's the case, then you need to go fuck a book, because that's the only thing that's not gonna fucking change. Like that's printed. Like I'm always liable to change. I can always be edited. I can always be amended. My paragraphs change daily. That shit is already printed, already edited. It's already on the fucking press. So you need to go put your dick between those, pages, because that shit's not gonna fly over here. And a lot of people don't get that.
Yeah. Woo! That was a word. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we will be back with the Righteous Ratchet Goddess, Dem Chakras.
Yay!
Hello, I'm Calandria Elizabeth, the author of Pills and Poetry. Follow along the emotionally wrought journey of Raquel Dixon, a young Black woman of Jamaican descent, as she learns about life in this story of pain and pleasure. Raquel and her family experience a tragedy that threatens to wreck their close-knit household. This coming-of-age tale aims to shine a light on the dark corners of mental illness, often kept in the shadows of family history. Pills and Poetry is available in ebook and paperback through Amazon Prime and also through Apple Books.
And we're back. Thank you for joining us and joining in this wonderful discussion. So, do you prefer to be called Dem Chakras, or do I call you by your first name? How do I address you? Goddess?
Whatever you're comfortable with, I'm here.
Okay, so I've been doing some reading, around relationship toxicity, and I believe that the term toxic relationship was something that was coined in the early 90s at a time. At that time, I know I was in an unhealthy relationship. I was with my children's dad, and we were both really young. I think at the time I hadn't even turned 21 yet. It's a really long time ago. And he had just turned 23, and we were at a point where we were trying to figure out our relationship and grow in our relationship. But then we were also trying to figure out ourselves as individuals and grow as individuals. And neither one of us sort of had that parental type of guidance that you hope steers you, or the elders that you hope steer you. And, after we had split up, getting back into the dating game was just an absolute nightmare. I didn't know if I was coming or if I was going. I didn't know if it was okay to just like fuck people and not be in a relationship with them. And then it's like, okay, well, I have to be in a relationship because that's the expectation if we're going to have sex. And it was just absolutely crazy. So for you, having recently come out of a situation and deciding not to get into cuffing season and not to get back into the dating game, has that been a really difficult challenge for you? And then with others around you that you see that are in those similar types of toxic relationships, how do you deal with that on a day-to-day basis?
I'm very much in a healing process. Like, this has been probably one of the hardest hits to like my heart in a very long time. Like one, it wasn't that long, but two, it was just so much like detail within that time. Like, there was just a lot that happened. And I guess it bothered me so much. And I'm still very much apologizing for myself because I put a lot of guards down. Like, I put a lot of my guards down and did a lot of things that I promised myself that I wasn't going to do until I got into something that I felt like was going to last long term. So I jumped the gun with this, and I'm very much dealing with that. And it's just a process. Like, it's a lot of apologizing to myself. And that is the thing that means the most. Like, fuck distancing yourself from people, fuck blocking them, muting. Like, none of that really matters if you don't deal with what's at hand, which is like the beef that you have with yourself. Because once you see that person again, then you have to deal with it then. Like, if you've never processed how you felt, you're going to jump right back into that cage. So you have to fight yourself on everything that it is that you're feeling. Feel it as you're feeling it and deal with it. The people around me with this whole cuffing season situation, with like just the things that I'm seeing, I try to mind my business for the most part because it doesn't really have anything to do with me until they're like directly hurt. Yes. I really hate being the like I told you so type of individual, but I've also started to develop the idea that tough love is the best love when it comes to these people. Because if I keep like pacifying and coddling them and telling them like it's going to get better, or, just like meditate on it, or, people change, or, well, like let's look at the positive. It's not doing anything because they're still very much dumb at this point. And it's not even a matter of, not knowing. It's that you do know and you're fucking insane because you're doing the same thing expecting a different type of outcome. And I can't sugarcoat it with the people that I love anymore. And I shouldn't have sugarcoated it with myself for as long as I did. Like, yeah, no, like this is cool. Like, this is acceptable. It's not at all. And it's not ever going to be acceptable. And the longer you sit in it, the longer you're going to be angry with yourself in the long run. And apologizing to yourself when you're not willing to listen to you, it doesn't do anything for you. And like, that's where I was. It's like, no matter what I told myself, like, girl, this is going to be okay. Like, just apologize to yourself. You know, like, I'm sorry that you even got to yourself to this point. Like, come on, let's just put these guards back up. It is what it is. The minute that he texts me, the minute that he DM me, whatever, he's like, yo, fuck them guards. Like, we good. Like, you know, and it just, it wasn't any good to myself. And I just kind of use that as fuel for everybody else. Like, without having to share everything in detail, I go to people and let them know, like, y'all been in it for 3 or 4 years. I was in this shit for 6 months and the shit wasn't cool. So I can only imagine what you're going through. And I let them know verbatim what I'm feeling. And I give each of my emotions a name and I let them know. And it gets ugly. Like, I tell people the very ugly side of what I felt. And they like, damn, like, that's a thing. And it's like, you'll never know if you keep sitting in it. And then the minute they really detach themselves, they like, damn, no, yo, you're right. So then we just become accountability partners. Like, listen, we ain't texting, we ain't calling, we ain't DMing, we ain't responding. If we feel like we have to, then we send those text messages to each other. Like, Kiara and I are very much our accountability partners. So anything that she feels like she has to say to the person that she was dealing with, knowing that he's not going to listen, she just texts it to me. And I tell her, like, I received that. And I let her know, like, I got you. When it comes to, like, same thing, I'll text it to her. And she's like, I receive it. Like, I got you. And at times we just sit in the house and we cry like two blubbering ass dumbasses and eat ice cream. And we just, you know, we go about our day. It just, time heals all wounds. So that's really what we dedicated to.
I think it's beautiful. 2 things that you said. Apologizing to yourself and how important that is and how often we don't do that. I find that what we do is we beat ourselves up, we blame ourselves, we hold ourselves accountable to the wrong things, and we shoulder the burden that's not ours to carry.
Yep.
The second thing that I think is absolutely beautiful is that you have an accountability partner.
Oh yeah.
I do. I think it's a wonderful thing because you have a lot of people who have to go through this by themselves because they don't feel like they can trust anyone with their feelings. They don't feel like they can trust someone to understand what they're going through. And it really isn't even about the person understanding what you've gone through. It's just about the person being supportive and the person hearing you and receiving what it is that you're saying. And sometimes it's enough for the person to just listen to you cry and listen to you talk out your emotions and listen to you process verbally what it is that you're dealing with. And then they just say to you, I heard you and it's okay.
Yep. And that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, they take for granted how important that is because I don't know. I feel like we've also gotten to this place where we everybody's so tough and everybody has to be so strong and whatever that means. Like if you cry, it somehow makes you weak. And if you allow yourself that moment of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did this to myself, it makes you weak. It's like you're supposed to just buck up and move on. And then, okay, well, that's just how relationships go. Nah, that's why we have so many fucking unhealthy people walking around doing this bullshit to other people on a regular basis because they're not stopping to deal with it. They're not saying to somebody, I need you to be my accountability partner. You know, I need your help to go through this because I don't want to do this by myself. I can, which in truth you can't, but I don't want to do this by myself. So I commend the two of you. I think it's that part of a relationship outside of your overall friendship, that part of your relationship is absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, in that vein, so I'm guessing you've had to personally counsel some of your friends in terms of their toxic relationships.
Yes.
Okay. So have you ever had a friendship end because of counseling or saying to the person, like, the situation that you're in, you can't see it, but I'm letting you know that the fact that they keep lying to you, the fact that they keep cheating on you, the fact that they make plans with you and break their plans all the time, the fact that they dump on you, the fact that they don't treat you with the love and whatever else. Have you ever had somebody say, well, you're wrong, he loves me, or you're wrong, she loves me, and they would rather stay with that person and their friendship with you?
Oh yeah. I think the craziest time that I can remember was actually high school. And like, I think that it's crazy that I went through it in high school. I actually had a friend who I was very close with, and we went to prom, and prom was fine. And after prom, he just did not want to stay. Like, he did not want to, her date did not want to stick around. He just wanted to go. So I'm like, that's weird. Like, you know, we're all going go-kart and we're all going out to eat. What is this? So I brought it to her attention. Like, yo, you don't think that that's weird that he wants to dip, like, but everybody else in their date is here. Like, now you're by yourself. She's like, no, it's cool. You know, he said he has something to do. I'm like, sis, it's like 11 o'clock at night. He doesn't have anything to do. And we're like 17. He doesn't have anything to do. He ain't got no goddamn job, you know? Like, what?
Right.
So as the days went on, he actually lived in my neighborhood, and I just started to see shit that would raise a red flag. Like, there was like this girl coming in and out of his house, and I know she's not family. Like, so I brought it up to her attention. She goes to talk to him, and she's like, he's basically like, you need to mind your business because you don't know what you're talking about. And I'm just like, all right. So I go to him because now I'm like this. I'm always like the mama bear of my family and friends. So I'll go to him directly, and I'm like, yo, fuck is your problem? Like, you're clearly, you know, doing whatever you're doing behind her back. The shit isn't cool. Just cut ties. Like, she over here thinking that everything is okay. She basically fucking crazy now. Like, help me help you. So he's like, nah. They get into this huge argument because the girl ends up coming to her. And back when I was like a teenager, like, it wasn't that long ago, but people were really dumb. And they started doing these like false pregnancies. So she sent my friend a picture of a pregnancy test. And she's like, I'm pregnant by your boyfriend. All this other stuff. She goes up to his house. They get into this physical altercation. Like, they're fighting. After everything is said and done, I done broke this fight up. And I'm like, look at you. I want you to look at the fact that you're fighting this man in his house, like this in front of his mother. Like, I want you to look at this. She's like, fuck it, I'm done. I don't want to deal with you anymore. Like, if this is the side that you're going to take, then be done with it. Lie to you not, as of recently, they are still kind of like in this toxic situation. Like, lo and behold, like, they're not necessarily together, but like, every couple of months, you'll see them together for a certain period of time. And then she posts some shit on social media that it ain't working out. And then she dips off and then he comes back. He's had like multiple children. She doesn't have any kids. She's taking pictures with the kids. Like, these are my It's a very toxic situation. And I just be like, this ain't that, sis. Like, I can't help you. And she's always like, hey, I just want to kind of catch up. Maybe we can go for drinks. My schedule's always busy. I don't have time.
Yeah.
It was a hot ass mess.
I don't think I've ever heard of, like, I've heard of crazy situations, but and the fact that she stays, the fact that he's moved, like you said, he's got kids, and so he's clearly doing him and doing his life, and she's, I feel like women think, and not just women, because men do as well, but I feel like women think that, well, I've put in 5 and 6 and 10 years. I'm not going anywhere because I'm owed something, right?
That was the excuse. The excuse was like, we've been doing this shit since high school. Like, and that sounds healthy. That right there sounds healthy. Like, y'all been doing it since. I rarely talk to her, but there are times where like I posted something on Instagram and she's responded to it. And she's like, this really hit home for me. And she's like, how have you been? And I'm just like, I've been good. And she's like, because I don't give a fuck. I'm not asking you how you are because you're gonna dump something on me that I'm not ready for, that I can't deal with. So I'd never ask. And then she just starts dumping on me like, and I'm going through this and I'm going through this, I'm going through this. And you know, like, we've been dealing with each other since high school. And I'm like, girl, this cannot be the same dude that she was fighting in the living room. She's like, yep, it's the very same guy. And I'm just like, yo. I'm like, well, you have a good one because I don't know what to tell you. So,
and I mean, that kind of, at that point, it's a choice.
Yeah.
And it's weird to me when I hear grown people articulate that they know, but they're still doing it. Yep. That's bizarre to me. Like, if that was in high school and now you're in your 20s or like you're in your mid 20s, so, you know, 10 years or however long, 8 to 10 years has gone by, and you're choosing to do that foolishness, I can't feel sorry for you. I can't feel sorry for you.
Fuck. She's comfortable as fuck in it. Like, because it's a regimen for her. Like, there's no different. I can almost like pin it. Like, around August, she gonna say some dumb shit. Around December, she gonna say some dumb shit. And I'm almost always right.
Good heavens almighty. So what are ways that we can prevent ourselves from getting into these toxic relationships? And then if we're in the toxic relationship and we're ready to leave and come out, what are ways in which we can help ourselves to heal?
The very first thing I personally feel like before you even get into a situation with a person is to call bluff on anything that makes you uncomfortable. So like during that talking stage where you honestly feel like something ain't right and they're telling you something and you're like, it's too good to be true, Go with your gut and question them on it. And you don't have to be like, I call BS. You know, like, I call BS. You don't really mean that. But you could just be like, well, how are you going to prove that? Like,
Right.
start asking people, what does it look like when you really love a person? What does it really like when you know, when you really like a person, and hold them accountable for those actions? Because if they're not exhibiting it, then that means that they must not really like you. And hold people to their word. Like, I think that was the biggest thing for me, especially in like this last situation, that there's no receipt for the genuine love or care for that person at all. Like, I can't say that I can recall one time other than like verbal support where it's like a person went above and beyond to ensure that I felt loved.
Yes.
It was a lot of just kind of like smooth talking and things of that nature. So if you honestly feel like a person is just kind of loving you at one level and you're a multi-level type of lover, then talk to that person about what you expect from jump. And it sounds weird, but the same way that you can fuck a person raw, like first time you meet them, you should not be so hesitant about telling a person what you expect from them, even in the talking stages, even if it's just a good morning text. Now, when you're in it and you're experiencing it, the biggest thing that you have to do is develop self-control so that you know better. Like, in those moments where you tell yourself, like, girl, you know better, or like, yo, you know better, dude, you know better, walk yourself through that. Like, all right, you know better, and I know better because of this, and this. When you can prove to yourself that something is happening, you're a lot more cautious about doing it again because it didn't make you feel good. So anytime that you've experienced something that doesn't feel good, you can almost recall that experience down to the T. There are very few people that can say, on my wedding day, I felt this. When I had my son, I felt this. When, you know, like when I got my hair cut for the first time, I felt this. But let you get hit by a car, I felt that shit. Let somebody break your heart, I felt that shit. Let somebody break in your house, I felt that shit. You feel all of that. So talk yourself through those points where you didn't feel good. What were you feeling? What were you wearing? What could you smell? Because that's triggering for you. So if these triggers roll back around, then you know that, listen, this same shit is about to go down. And then you can be proactive instead of reactive. And stop talking at people. Like, stop talking at them, especially if they're not fucking listening. If you're going to talk to a person, that means you're talking to them. There's a dialogue created. They talking back. You know, it's the whole thing. If you're talking at a person, it's a monologue. You just off rip, and you're giving people too much time to develop a rebuttal. People who are in toxic relationships talk a whole lot and they get very little back. So if you pouring your heart out and all you getting back is K text messages, that they don't care. They really don't care. They really don't care. And the best thing to do at that point is not to, you gotta stop blocking people. And I know that sounds like the total opposite of what people should do. But when you block a person, and you just be like, all right, well, I blocked them. Phew, it's over. It's not. It's really not. Because they could make another page. You could see them walking down the street. You like, if it's a long distance thing, you could see, you know, like if you touch down in their city, whatever the case may be, anything could happen. So what you have to do is you have to deal with them in the face of what you're dealing with. So right then and there, in that moment, know that when you see that person again, you ain't even got to say nothing to them, but you should be comfortable enough to not have to cross the street because you see that person. So like, deal with it in the midst of you dealing with it. And know that you don't owe nobody no goddamn explanation. Like, closure ain't mandated. It's really not. Like, closure is the nice way of doing shit. If you don't want to deal with a person anymore, you don't even have to tell them that you're not dealing with them. Like, if cold turkey is the way to go and that's what you're comfortable with, just cut it. And when they ask you what's up, you don't have to respond. That's not you being rude. Look at how long they've strung you along. So the fact is, though, after 5-6 months, after 5-6 years, after 5 or 6 weeks, you're tired of it and you're just not doing it no more. And if you don't go back and forth with that person, or you don't talk to that person, you don't give them an option to respond. So just stop. Do yourself a favor, just stop. That's the first stop.
I think too, stop accepting sorries.
Oh my God, that's a big one.
Because people say sorry for everything. Like you said, you go on a rant and they're just saying, okay. It's the same as you go on, you know, you're telling them how you feel and they're like, okay, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Okay. Sorry doesn't mean shit when there is no action behind the apology. Because a person could sorry you to death and still continue to do the same bullshit every single time. You may accept the apology the first time, but if the apology is the apology about the same thing over and over and their sorry doesn't mean anything at this point. They're just saying sorry to appease you.
Exactly. And especially because you guys didn't sit down and develop a game plan after the apology. Like, there have been, especially like my son's father, we co-parent really well. Like, and a lot of people don't know, like, we live in the same house. So like we live in the same house and everything works well for us because we technically lead two different type of lifestyles. But anytime there's something that we don't agree on, whether it be the bills, whether it just be like he went to the market and just got all this, same dumb shit, like he doesn't come to me and be like, yo, like, I'm sorry. And I'm just like, all right, okay. Like, if it's something that bothers the other person, we actually sit down and be like, not only, all right, now I'm hurt or now something happened, I don't agree with that. We put a game plan in motion and we put a deadline to it. Like, all right, by this date, this needs to be fixed. Like, I think like maybe like 2 months ago, I missed a bill. Like, nothing got cut off, but like I missed it and there was like a fee or something attached and he got an email. He's like, yo, like, what's up with this? I'm like, I totally forgot. And he's like, well, you know how I am about that. And I'm like, I do know. I don't want to hear your mouth about it because it's really unnecessary. Like, I truly forgot. And he's like, all right, so not only do you have to pay this bill and pay the late fee, I really appreciate it if you didn't talk to me like that based on this, because this is something that frustrates me. So when we sat down about it, it's like, all right, so now I have this bill in my calendar each month because I was forgetting this bill like crazy. Okay. And, we talked about it and it works a lot better now. Like, we co-parent very well because our lines of communication are open. We just don't work well in a relationship because we don't communicate well. We just be throwing shit. Like, I was physically throwing shit at this man at a point and it just wasn't doing any good. So the relationship is very much toxic, but the friendship is fucking beautiful. We can go wine tasting and everything else. We can have a good time.
And you know what? Sometimes it's like that. Sometimes you're in relationships with people that are not meant to be those types of emotional long-term relationships. They're meant to be emotional friendships where you have a child together and you parent.
Yep.
And that's just it. So that's it for us. I want to thank you so much for allowing everyone to get a glimpse into your personal life, for sharing your thoughts and your feelings, for just sharing you, and for being the bomb-ass queen that you are. I know that you've gone through the rough in the last 6 months or so. So the fact that you are here and you are still pressing on and you are sharing your truth, I am so appreciative. And thank you so much for agreeing to come on the Pum Pum Chronicles and chat with me. So
thank you for having me.
Oh, I appreciate you. Let everyone know, where they can find you. I know that you have a great event coming up on November the 16th. So please let everyone know what's going on.
So I have a meet and greet that's actually fully booked. Y'all showed off. Like, all the seats were reserved in 24 hours. I was not expecting that at all. But November the 16th, and the last hour is actually open to the public if people just kind of want to come in and out. And it's going to be at Suite 207, which is in Baltimore, Maryland. So if you guys want to slide through from 2 to 5, and then from 4 to 5 is kind of like the open house. Just for you guys to come kick it with me. But it's a live motivational minute, which is literally what I do every day. So if you guys follow me on Instagram at Dem Chakras, DemChakras, I try to share something inspirational, motivational, transformational every day, because it seems like when you start your day off well, your day goes better. I'm the co-host of Best Friends Talking Shit, and that in itself is a good goddamn time. Every Monday, myself and our host, Kiara J. Monet, get together to talk some shit, which is a lot of fun. My best friend, my partner in crime. And we have the Feed the Less Fortunate, which is going on in Baltimore, Maryland on November 23rd, where we're giving 100 dinners out to the less fortunate. So if you guys, have somebody in the Maryland area, and you have an address for them or like a common space where they can be found, definitely DM us, because we definitely want to get it out there. Only like 5 of the dinners are really spoken for. So everything else is just, kind of like us handing it out. The podcast is at Dem Chakras, DemChakras. And that's about it. I be doing shit, but I just got to tell y'all when it comes, because shit changes, because I be changing. Every day I'm evolving. So like, yeah.
So, and if they want to email you, if somebody wants to send a donation, if they want to assist at the Feed the Less Fortunate, if they want to, come to the your live motivational minute, how do they get in contact with you?
So you guys can contact me via DM. DM is probably the quickest way in reference to the event, to the live motivational minutes, because that's kind of where everything is being housed. All the emails and stuff are going out. But if you guys need like directions, again, it's on Instagram, DemChakras. That is the hardest thing to spell. And as for the donations for Best Friends Talking Shit, you guys can send the donations via my PayPal, which is CKearson, CKEARSON. See, that's a lot. And then the Cash App, if that's easier for you guys, is BF Talking Shit. So BFTALKINGSHIT. And you can follow us on Instagram as well at that same BF Talking Shit. There's no underscore attached to it anymore. And all that information is on there as well.
Okay, perfect. So if you're in the Maryland area, please come out, get involved, do what you can, make a donation. If you are around on November the 16th, and you can do a walkthrough to meet the fabulous Ratchet Righteous Goddess herself, please do so. So I am your host, AJ Badass Jones. You can find me on my social media. My personal Instagram page is badass_Jones_. You can find my podcast page, the Pum Pum Chronicles podcast, also on Instagram. And that's also the title of my YouTube channel. And you can find me on Twitter at TPP Chronicles. And if you want to email me, you can email me some things at thepumpumpchronicles@gmail.com. That's it for us. Thank you. Yeah. Much love to you. Much love to you. Much love to you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Woohoo.